we have refused repeatedly to talk to the Russians. We've broken up. There's two treaties, the Minsk agreements, which the Russians were willing to sign, and they said we will stay out. The Russians didn't want the Ukraine. They showed that when the Donbass region voted 90-10 to leave and go to Russia. Putin said no. We want Ukraine to stay intact, but we want you to sign the Minsk Accords the Russians were very worried because of the U.S. involvement in the coup in Ukraine in 2014. And then the oppression and the killing of 14,000 ethnic Russians. And Russia has the same way that if Mexico put Aegis missile systems from China or Russia on our border and then killed 14,000 expats Americans, we would go in there. Oh, he does have a national security interest in the Ukraine. He has an interest in protecting the Russian-speaking people of the Ukraine, the ethnic Russians, and the Minsk Accords did that. It left Ukraine as part of Russia. It left them as a semi-autonomous region that could continue to use their own language, which was essentially banned by the coup, by the government we put in 2014. And we sabotaged that agreement. And we now know in April 2022, Zelensky and Putin had inked a deal already to another peace agreement, and that the United States sent Boris Johnson, the neocons in the White House sent Boris Johnson over to the Ukraine to sabotage that agreement. So what do I think? I think this is a proxy war. I think this is a war that the neocons in the White House wanted. They've said for 2 decades they wanted this war, and that they wanted to use Ukraine as a pawn in a proxy war between United States and Russia, the same as we used Afghanistan. And in fact, they say it, this is the model. Let's use the Afghanistan model. That was said again and again. And to get the Russians to overextend their troops and then fight them using local fighters and U.S. weapons. And when President Biden was asked, why are we in the Ukraine, he was honest. He says to depose Vladimir Putin, regime change for Vladimir Putin. And when his Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin in April 2022 was asked, why are we there? He said to degrade the Russians' capacity to fight anywhere, to exhaust the Russian army and degrade its capacity to fight elsewhere in the world. That's not a humanitarian mission. That's not what we were told. We were told this was an unprovoked invasion, and that we're there to bring a humanitarian relief to the Ukrainians. But that is the opposite. That is a war of attrition that is designed to chew up, to turn this little nation into an abattoir of death for the flower of Ukrainian youth in order to advance a geopolitical ambition of certain people within the White House.